no matter what you think, the little bit that you save adds up. If every single person on this channel saved a gallon a day, do the math. So a couple years ago, we had our garden and we didn't get any rain for the month of May, I believe it was. And all of our blueberries desiccated. All of our flowers didn't come up really, or they just didn't really produce. And we had a hard time watering and our rain barrels went dry. So let's talk about ways to save water and to help be more conservative of water, considering with all the droughts and all that stuff going on. These are going to be easy tips, stuff you may already do and stuff that you may want to add, and a lot of them are free. All right, we need to have a serious conversation about scheduling, water schedules. So what we want to do is, first of all, you want to water early in the morning, and this does two things. One, it allows the water to soak in before it evaporates out of the ground, and lets the plants, gives them a chance to soak it up. But two, it also gives the plants a way to dry off all day, so you don't get a lot of these waterborne diseases and fungal infections and stuff like that, like powdery mildew, black spot, all that kind of stuff. So it's a really good way to, you're kind of doing two things at once with that one. Now you can use, and a lot of people recommend using a drip system for your water, but I use this. So this is just a sprinkler head that I've mounted in my flower garden, and what it does is it sprays all the way out. I stop it about here and it goes to there. So this does a lot of things all at once. So what it's doing is, not only is it watering the garden, but it also comes around and it waters the pots all along the greenhouse. It waters this garden, and then this is really important, it also adds water to the compost, because water and compost is really important. So I'm getting all of this watered in one swipe. And yeah, I am watering a little bit of my grass, and I don't water any of my other grass, but it has worked for me. And that really comes down to the way I planned out my garden. I didn't really plan my layout very conducive for drip systems and stuff like that. Plus my gardening style, I like to do a lot of direct sowing. I've tried it and it just didn't work for me. So, you know, that's definitely an option, but you want to take time to tweak the way your sprinkler will water your garden. So that's just really key. Tweak how much it goes. You don't want it to overlap, because this will go all the way out here if I wanted to, but I don't want it. So just doing that. And water deeply. That's the other thing. So I water it very deep. I water it for an hour every other day, and that gives me about 1 inch of water a week roughly. And so that works out really well for me. The next thing we need to talk about is rain barrels. So yes, rain barrels are good, but you can daisy chain them together. So for instance here, and this is all being changed, I'm going to do a whole video about daisy chaining rain barrels and stuff like that. But for right now, my system comes in, fills this one up, and then overflows here. Now I do need to hook up this big one that I acquired to here, but that's the time to come. So this rain barrel is actually going to move all the way up to the other side of my house, where it gets a lot more water a lot faster, and I'm going to daisy chain it to the other one up there, so that it will be, you know, it'll fill a lot faster and I'll have more water available. Now I also have, on the back of my greenhouse, I have rain barrels as well to catch water, because not only is it catching rainwater, but here you can see, and I know not everybody has a greenhouse, but for me, it has a little gutter system right here, and then that will in turn, all the water that falls off the sprinkler will be caught and go into the rain barrel. So I'm really saving what little extra waste that I have made by watering with the sprinkler. So that's kind of a twofer. All right, so we got to talk about this situation right here. What the hell is this? This wheelbarrow, I leave it out, and when it rains, it fills up, and I use this as well to fill up my watering cans and stuff like that if I want to go around and hand water. And this is really useful. So I can get a couple gallons in here just by leaving it up, and then before I even tap into my rain barrel, then I am going in here and using water directly, or I can just take it and pour it on something if I need to. So that's like a free option right there. There is no rain barrel, there's no nothing, there's no cost. If you already have a wheelbarrow, which most people probably do have some sort of wheelbarrow, maybe a bucket or something like that, just leave it out and you'll fill it up. It'll be amazed how much water you'll catch, and then you can take it and use that to water. So that's really good. Now this one is a big thing that we're a proponent of at Backyard Gardens, and we talk about this on the podcast a lot, and that would be mulch. So you can see, first of all, look at my corn coming up. We have some mulch here, and I haven't re-mulched this because I have my seeds coming up, but just having this mulch on the ground, if we come over here, you'll see. So this bed actually gets watered by my sprinkler by about 3/4 of it. So this will actually work pretty good for this demonstration, but you'll see when you move it, it retains moisture. But if I come over here, actually let's come all the way over here to this section. It's been a couple days and you can see it's still a little moist under here. So this is retaining a lot of water. Now I don't have anything bare over here that hasn't been watered, but rest assured that if it was bare, it would lose a lot of the water very quickly. It won't retain it. And so this will help with your tomato splitting. If you go back and watch my tomato splitting video, this will help with that. So it keeps the watering consistent and keeps it constantly cool and moist. So a bale of straw, I've been crucified for saying hay, even though I'm lazy and call it hay, but a bale of straw or chopped straw or something, I think I buy a bale for $8 and it'll do my whole garden almost. You can't really go wrong. Chopped leaves, anything like that. Even I use in my flower beds, I use wood mulch, and that works really well too. I don't like it in my garden, but that's a whole different subject. And there's actually a video about that. I'll try and link it right here. I'm trying to stay in the shade as much as possible. It's gonna be like 98 degrees. It's like 7:30 in the morning, it's already 80, so I'm trying to stay cool. But if it rains, okay, let's talk about if it rains. If it rains, delay your watering, okay? My timers have a button that I push and it says delay, and I can change it to 1 to how many ever days. So if I get a good, decent rain, I'll delay it by a day. And so you may get a little bit extra water that week, which I have a theory that maybe we underwater our gardens, but that's just a theory. I haven't proved it quite yet, not technically. Maybe there'll be a video to come about that. But if you delay by a day and you just take it easy, then you're letting nature water your garden, and that's going to be really good. Because one, there's no point in having your sprinklers come on while it rains. I mean, that's a no-no. That's terrible. And I've done that before, so don't think I'm not I'm holier than thou. I've definitely done it. But you want to delay it and see how much it's raining. If you're just getting a little sprinkle, whatever. But if you're getting like a full-blown like downpour or something, you can get an inch of rain pretty quick. So you can get a ½ an inch even, because remember, most plants want about an inch of rain a week. So we're not really trying to do that whole inch in one day. So if you get a ¼ inch, fine. If you get a ½ inch, fine. But if it's hot, you got to judge a little bit by what it is. So like today, it's going to be 98 degrees. It's going to be about 80% humid. It's going to be like miserable outside. In my family, we call it mugs. It's muggy out. It's mugs out. So we are, we watered today, but then we're also probably going to water tomorrow because everything's going to get heat stressed. But on a normal day where it's in the high 80s or something, we just let it ride. You know what I mean? If it rains, we'll delay it by a day. If it rains for 2 days, we'll delay it by 2 days, so on and so forth. So that's going to save a lot of water too. So you remember when I came over and I said that it's going to water my compost? Well, that's also a tip, is using compost, okay? So we were talking about compost earlier and watering the compost. And I just want to show you why you should be using compost in your gardens. So we're going to take a pile of compost. I'm going to bring it over here so you can see what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold it up. And I'm just going to squeeze the water out of it. I don't know if you can see the water coming out of it, but it's definitely coming out. So that is going to help retain water as well, because it's naturally water retentive. And it holds the water into the soil, And it's just another piece of the puzzle. It's another building block. It's one more thing. Not to mention the mulch that you're gonna add is gonna do the same thing. So make sure that you're doing that, because compost compost is amazing. Not only does it feed it, but it retains water, it helps keep it cool. And then the mulch, which I kind of consider compost as well, because I'm gonna show on Instagram, and I'll do it on here too, how much my mulch broke down over the year to make compost inside of my garden without me doing a damn thing. I'm just sitting there chilling, cooking, or growing and cooking and whatever. So that's another thing that you can do, is just between the mulch and the compost and all that, you're gonna be good, and you're already gonna be making it. And the final thing, and this is really important, and it may be too late for you this year, but put it in your little books for next year, is garden design. So I got the camera held way up so I can kind of show this all in one breath. But you can see that I have my trellises in the back. Now in the morning, we're getting a lot of sun, and this is good sun, but the way I was limited to how I could design my garden like this, so I used it to my advantage, and I put this up so it'll block some sun, it'll keep it shady, it'll retain more of that moisture in the morning that we're watering. And then when I planted, see all this garlic right here? See, and if you've been watching the channel for a while, which you haven't, you should subscribe and all that good stuff. But the sun travels this way, like up in the sky. So it'll be a little bit warmer, it'll be hotter. And then what happens is it comes all the way around, and then it comes around here, and then it just gets super hot. And this right here, this little bit right here, will shade this here. And then not only that, but I put the bigger plants in front here, and so that will also provide some shade, keeping them cooler, because these are actually like beets and chard and stuff. So it'll help keep it cooler so it can grow a little bit more happy. And see, look at this. See this basil? Basil likes to bolt when it gets hot. But right now, it's shaded all the way in. And so that's gonna help too with all that. You know, my peppers here, they like to be hot, so I just put them in front. But what they do in the daytime, when the sun is beating down this way, it'll keep all of those tomatoes from basically almost boiling inside the skin, because it'll get so hot. So a little bit of garden design will make a big difference. Now it can also go vice versa, where you don't want to shade stuff out, but we're specifically talking about saving water and being conservation minded. And this really goes all along with our sustainable gardening series that we have on YouTube right now, or on the podcast right now. So you should check that out, because we broke it down into 4 different categories, and watering was a category that came into every single episode, because we have droughts, mega droughts, terrible droughts, whatever you want to call it. So these are all things that we can do. It doesn't, I mean, everything that I've said here, it either takes a little bit of time, which I know time is money, but you can, you know, just dialing in your sprinklers, putting them on a timer. You know, you don't even have to get like a full programmable timer. You can get like a rotary timer, a manual one. Just turn on your sprinkler, turn it on, you know, whatever time you want. I recommend an hour, and then boom, it'll turn itself off. So you can do that as well, and those are cheaper. You know, setting it so it'll water everything in one breath, putting the wheel rod, like all these things are free, cheap, and easily done, can take just a few minutes. So try these out, because no matter what you think, the little bit that you save adds up. If every single person on this channel saved a gallon a day, do the math. Everybody listening to the podcast saves a gallon a day. Add to it. And then imagine if you tell a friend, you're saving thousands and thousands of gallons a day, and then you go by week, you know, it just adds up. So every little bit counts. So make a difference, be more sustainable, and try and save a little bit of water. Try these cheaper methods. If you want to go crazy, go for it. I'm gonna have, once I get off my dead butt, I'm going to move that rain barrel up front, and I'll show you how I daisy chain them together to get more, to be able to hold more water. And I'll probably, if I get around to it, which I hope to, I mean, that's my whole plan, to hook up that big tank, I'll do that as well, because I got to put a whole gutter system on here and all that stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, it ain't gonna look very professional, so there's that. But let's see what we can do. You know, everybody make a change and learn to grow for change. See there? And check out the Backyard Gardens podcast, Tuesdays on YouTube, Thursdays everywhere. Become a patron if you want to support us. And if you're just showing up, subscribe. Until then, see ya.